The Unified Employee Electronic Record is the heart of the system of Interact HRMS. Right here we're looking at what we call the quick view of an employee record. So that gives me a quick overview which is in fact configurable and produced based on my settings. And here I have a small list of the key areas of the employee electronic record that I can get to. Now what I'll do here is I'll take a look at the detail. So this is the employee electronic record for Barbara, and what you will notice is that there's a lot of information on the screen. Whether or not I want this information on the screen depends on me and is based on my settings, and I'll show you in a minute where we get those settings from and where we can modify this. So you see there's really an unlimited and long list of fields here, but you actually are only seeing a small fraction of what's available. First of all, there are optional fields that you can create. For example, if I wanted to create an optional field called favorite music, what I would do is I'd go right here to the optional fields, and I will say that I want to create a new one, and I'll do this real quick. This is my caption, and I'm going to place that on the employee form, the general field, and it's going to be an open text field, which is all I need in that case. If it were a validated list, then I would have to produce the list of options, of course, before it can be generated. Now I'm going to generate this field. And now let's go back and look at our employee electronic record. And now you can see that there's a new field called favorite music. All right, now beyond the general information that's showing here, I have education details, I have the skills of the employee, I have the experience of the employee, I have the job that this employee is in. In my case, this employee in fact has a salary increase, and the system is tracking both the previous salary rate and the current rate for this particular pay period, after which there will only be one rate to be tracked. I have her leave records, I have her competency evaluation, I have her performance reviews, her career plan, her training records, her succession plan, and a risk analysis that's been done that she is affected by. Now, there is no limit to this type of information. Each one is in fact just a summary where more detail is available if you click on it, and you can always add things on the fly here. For example, if I want to take a look at the MBA details, it shows me here all the information that can be tracked about the academic records for that one degree that I just chose. The same thing if I go to the job details, it'll take me to the detail record of this particular job. So you can drill down as far and as wide as you need to go. You can see right here all the details about her salary, her allowances, and so on, and you can see the earnings and allowances and bonuses and commissions and benefits and so on that this employee is entitled to. All of this is not entered manually on the employee record. This is all the result of other modules that are feeding this information into the employee electronic record. So basically, your employee electronic record is a repository that contains all the information that is relevant to the employee, which is entered through the various modules and through the use of the product through self-service and so on. For example, if an employee requests leave through self-service and it gets approved, automatically the leave records here will be updated. There is nothing to be done manually in that case. If somebody produces a performance review, it's going to be shown here. If there's a career plan that's been created and updated, then you're going to be able to find that here. So everything that you need to know about your employees is on the record. You'll find a history of the employee in the organization. You'll find a work schedule and a holiday calendar. You'll find their timesheets, their payroll details, and an audit report showing me all the changes that took place on this employee record from the start of the use of the system and when they were changed by whom. It shows me payroll details. It has emergency contacts, address information, passport details. Let me look at the addresses real quick. Again, there's a lot of additional information. You can have multiple addresses for a person. And here is some of the data that we captured. You can attach any number of documents that you want, whether they're copies of passports or visas or information about dependents of the employee. And here is another long list of additional information that can be captured. Usually this is industry specific, so depending on which industry this client is in, it may be relevant for them to track whether their employees hold certain patents if they're a research organization, or they need to track their military service records or their publications, or any other information can all be attached to the employee record on the spot. In fact, there's much more that can be added to this employee record depending on the settings in the system. And keep in mind that most of the information is not entered on the employee record. It is automatically updated on the employee record based on the use of the system. On top of that, obviously, employees can modify this information if they go through their own self-service and update their employee record. Let me show you a few angles for this employee record still. Here's that same Barbara looking at her self-service, and you will find that she has the ability to update her profile. That profile is what we call the employee electronic record. She has the ability now to make certain changes to that and update or upload additional documentation and so on. And when she does that, it may be subject to approval. Based on the workflow that we have configured, the change may require an approval from HR. So you can make a change, you can delegate this kind of authority, but the HR department remains in control of the data and can choose whether or not to accept the change. Now, I'll look at this from a different angle also. Now, this particular employee happens to work in the HR department, but it would apply to any other department too, which is that through self-service, through the organization unit self-service, the employees can be viewed by their department heads, or whoever is authorized to view their data will be given access at the organization unit self-service level and can then view all the information here and basically obtain the employee records that are relevant to know about a particular employee. So there's no need for them to go to HR and obtain that information. They can obtain it online through the system just by logging in the self-service. For the HR, for any other department, each one can see the employees that belong to their department, except for HR has wider access than average. Now let's look at one more thing that shows you really the power of the employee electronic record and the depth and breadth of data that we have. You see right here is a list of employee profile information segments. These are the things for which we capture data on our employees, and as you can see here, there are many fields already assigned, but you could have added as many as you like. Remember, we have optional fields for those fields that don't already exist here, and then we have the ability to add as much information as we need to know about our employees that is already available right here. Okay, so everything that you need to know, you can add or remove that. You can change the caption, you can make it mandatory or optional, and you have a lot of flexibility in how you use the system, and that makes this employee electronic record very powerful, because since Interact HRMS is a global HRMS solution, you need to have the ability to capture different data in different countries about your employees. So you can set up those rules based on employee group or based on the employer in which you are hiring the employees. So your employee electronic record is where all the data arrives. When you're using a training module, the training records will show in the employee electronic record. When you are requesting leave and it gets approved, it'll show. When performance appraisals are done, disciplinary actions, everything ends up on your employee electronic record. There is no limit. It is the heart of the system.